One of the perennial questions I've received over the years goes something like this. What if you met a woman who were X, right? Essentially, what if you met a unicorn? Now, I want to say at the outset, I'm not really interested in what if questions, no matter the type of question. It doesn't matter to me. I don't like wasting time and delving into hypotheticals that will almost certainly never come true. What if you were a multimillionaire? I'm never going to be a multimillionaire, so what's the point in thinking about it? What if you were this? What if you were that? Of course, many of us, myself included, sometimes get caught up in a kind of daytime reverie. I'd say my worst sin in this regard is going back in time to childhood and re-engineering my life in a certain way. That's the kind of what if I sometimes fall prey to. But when I have those thoughts, I typically block them out as quickly as possible because I realize it is pointless and senseless. So I just try to move on, usually. But I do get this question, have gotten this question over the years. What if you were to meet a woman who blah, 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 blah? And on its face, it seems like a simple question to answer, but it really isn't. Because here is where the rubber meets the road in terms of normie attitudes towards relationships and human interactions and my attitude, which is decidedly not normie. I don't look at relationships or human beings as this wellspring of opportunities, of things that just happen. I look at relationships of necessity in a very calculated manner because I have to. Because at the end of the day, human interactions are transactional, and there's no way getting around that. You could pretend it's not the case and then fall prey to the consequences of your delusion. What's the point of that? Because when normies ask this question, what if you met a unicorn, basically, what they're really trying to address, what they're really trying to ask you is, do you have hope? No, I don't have hope. I can't remember the last time I had hope. Now, hope is a normal emotion, the hope that something may happen, but it is a foolish one. Again, for the umpteenth time, to quote my favorite mage, Raistlin Magir, hope is the denial of reality. It is the carrot dangled before the draft horse in a vain attempt to keep him prodding on. Now, to entertain their question further, and I do answer these questions when they're posed to me, if only for the amusement, what if I did meet a unicorn? Well, what if I met a female that I seemingly were compatible with? Well, the problem there is, well, yes, I've gone on record and I'll say I am not categorically opposed to relationships. As in, it's not an axiom that I say I would never be in a relationship. But it would take a lot, and I do mean a lot, to get me to the point where I think, oh, this is a good option. This is a good investment of time and energy. And here's some truth, right? Obviously, we've all been hurt. We've all been through experiences. Human beings over time develop ways of dealing with those experiences. There's different types of quote-unquote defense mechanisms. And coming to terms with a certain reality of how the world works is part of that. I do not trust people in general, both males and females. I've been burned by both. In fact, this year, one of my allegedly closest friends went MIA on me and disappeared. And he was a male. But as a rule, I trust females even less because of the potential damage they can cause. And to that, they'll say, well, you need to take risks, you need to do this. Of course, you can do that. But there's another thing to bear in mind. In my situation, I'm pushing 50. As you get older, you become more risk averse. And I'm simply not willing to entertain the possibility of undergoing a very risky endeavor, such as a relationship, where not only do I have no guarantee of the outcome, but there's a very high likelihood that I could be injured, both physically and emotionally in the process, which really throws you out of the loop. And all of this speaks to my mind, perhaps the most salient factor of all, and that is the emotional emptiness I feel after all these years. It's not just due to relationships, you know? So all of you know, I have lots of sleeping problems. I'm tired all the time. I don't have a lot of energy. I just don't feel as intensively as I used to as a young person. Physically, I don't feel that way. Mentally, I don't feel that way. The emotions are just gone. I'm kind of like a husk compared to what I used to be. And it is what it is, but I cannot, sincerely, truly, cannot envision, for the life of me, having intense feelings for anybody, just because I'm so emotionally vacant after all these years. It's life, it's getting older, it's the accumulation of experiences that lead to that state. And that's something that I've always found very alien in normies, that, okay, they get older, they're not as energetic, but a lot of normies kind of retain that gusto, that enthusiasm for romance and things of that nature. Whereas I see everything in a very calculating way. Okay, relationships are like this. Tit for tat. Transactional. Here's the evolutionary perspective, etc., etc. I don't have a romantic bone in my body anymore compared to, say, 20 years ago or 25 years ago. It's all gone. So even if I were to find somebody, hypothetically, a unicorn, I doubt I could really emotionally invest in the person. I honestly think I am physically, almost physiologically incapable at this stage. I just don't feel that stuff anymore. I've tried to conjure it up, to envision it, but it never happens. And I think it is the result of cumulative, quote-unquote, trauma and things that have happened over the years. But on the other hand, I can't reverse engineer it. The emotional vacancy is there as a response, but it's permanent. I'm pretty sure it's permanent. And people, especially normies, who think that your psychology is enormously and immensely flexible. They think that personality traits aren't fixed and you can change yourself. That's just not true. You get to a certain place after decades, you're probably not going to change. So, if I'm perfectly honest, I don't really know what I would do with a unicorn because I couldn't feel very much, even if she were the hottest thing under the sun. No pun intended. I simply, over time, through trial and tribulation, have lost my ability to become deeply emotionally invested in things and people. And that's above all true for women. And that's just living life. Having been in relationships, having gotten burned by both men and women, you just roll with the punches. But no one should pretend that in rolling with the punches there are no consequences. You do change in a certain way. You adapt. And whether it's for ill or for good, I have to say that I'm almost certain that I couldn't bring the requisite enthusiasm, interest, and emotional investment to any relationship I might hypothetically be in. Because all that stuff has been driven out of me. I just don't have it in me anymore. It's gone. I'm kind of dead inside, at least in that respect. And normies really don't get that. To me, everything is clinical. I look at it from the lens of evolution. I look at it from the lens of observation. I don't really have the emotions to work with to look at it from that perspective. The normies experience, as much as I used to have it in my days of youth, well, that's an alien experience to me, wholly unrelatable. Because remember, most people are operating out of their hindbrain, off their primal instincts. And they feel all these things. Think about all the men who remarry 4 or 5 times. All these emotions again and again and again. Part of that is predicated on their belief system, their belief in certain normative values, their belief in, well, the delusions and illusions that are woven around relationships. I just don't have any of that anymore. I think a lot of you probably don't either. So what would I do if I met a unicorn? I don't think I'm in a position anymore to appreciate the existence of unicorns, put it that way. That'll be my final answer. As always, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. And if I'm still alive, I'll check you out later. May the gods watch over you. Take care. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.